They have a special episode, a special application memories and review on a very special word processor for the Commodore Amiga, WordPerfect. And this is a very special one because it's the only cross-platform word processor ever developed on the Amiga. Cross-platform means it was on multiple computers. It was on DOS. I think it even started before DOS. I forgot what, perhaps a mainframe even, or a university thing. I don't know. I don't remember what it started for, but I think it was before even DOS. Obviously, DOS was the bread and butter for WordPerfect, but it was also on the Macintosh, OS2, Windows eventually. It was a very important thing. It was a big deal when this was released for the Amiga. And the American magazine Amiga World, they made a big hype out of it. I write written reviews now to everything, pretty much all of my videos. Now, they're not the same. It's not like it's not a script. I never do scripts for the videos. And I don't just write down what I say for these other written reviews either. They're completely different material. So if you like one video, you can go to this written thing and you can get another angle. I wanted to make this video specifically for AmigaLove to show off my love for the site and the Amiga, and hopefully get a couple of people to go over there and, start an account and, introduce yourself and say a couple of words. And they have a game database, everybody. A game database that tells people if it's an American game on the Amiga. If it's NTSC or if it's PAL or something, it actually says it. My God, what a concept. You can't review a word processor without writing a document. When people do a look at a word processor, they usually write some gibberish or maybe some song lyrics or a couple simple sentences. If you want to properly review a word processor, you gotta write a document. So this is the document I chose to write for AmigaLove.com, and I'm going to read it to you guys. Hopefully dramatically and fun, and you'll enjoy it. This is the kind of stuff I write for AmigaLove.com, and if you want to see more of it, go there and check it out. And I'm Shot97. Who else would I be? So if you want to check out my stuff, look for Shot97. And Intricate, the site's owner, he has a lot of great stuff himself. And occasionally some other people post there, but not enough. I'm calling out some of you, R16815, you need to be a member of this site. Definitely, because you create stuff, awesome stuff on the Amiga, and you need to be a member. You need to write that stuff down, and you need to be on this site. But, bastard tube user, there are people, some of my subscribers, you need to be on this site. You'd be great. You'd be great there. Without further ado, I'm going to take a look at WordPerfect. First thing I'm going to do is just show you around the word processor a little bit. Start it up and look at the menu screens. But then we're going to come back and we're going to read. We're going to read it together. So we're going to go to WordPerfect here. I got it on the hard drive. Right here, WP. So it comes up with a few things. WP setup and a Readme. Let's check out the Readme real quick. And it'll actually open up WordPerfect to read the Readme. This is funny. Not an Amiga WordPerfect file, Richie. Thank you guys. Thank you, company, for caring about the Amiga so much you bothered to even write the damn thing on an Amiga. Really? Come on. WordPerfect now has the ability to convert IBM 5.0 files to Amiga 5.0 files. That's this thing that it says it has the ability to convert 5.0 files to Amiga 5.0 files. This is untrue. This is 5.0. WordPerfect 5.0 on the Amiga is actually, it's just a beta. It's an alpha, actually. It's an alpha. So none of that is true. But in the 4.1, it will say it has the ability to convert 4.2 files. And that is true. So basically, the Amiga version of 4.1 is the DOS version of 4.2. And the 5.0 version is also the Amiga version of 4.1, so it's the DOS version of 4.2. This is just, they did very minimal work. Minimal work on 5.0. I think all they did was change the name and they changed that document. That's all they did. You can also go to Setup. But this is a fully functional. I've tested it. I tested it quite a bit myself, and 5.0 is fully functional. It's just functional as 4.1. It's not actually 5.0. This just gives you some, basic things if you want, but we don't need any of that right now. I had to go through that setup just to point it to my spelling areas and stuff, so it would spell check documents. But this is WordPerfect 5.0 on the Amiga, 5.0 in quotations, eyes. So you got it's basically a shell or a command line interface working on top of the workbench here. We can press this window here, and you get your normal workbench. So that actually is a very wonderful feature about this. Is if we went into another word processor like Excellence here, you will see that Excellence has its own unique screen completely separate from Workbench, whereas WordPerfect works directly on top of Workbench. So that might be of benefit to a lot of people. You could have things running. I could have my Amiga mod player running at the same time, and then I could actually click on the next song while I'm writing the document, rather than going through here and then having to tab out of it a little bit. So that is actually a nice feature of WordPerfect, I suppose. There's a consequence for that, and the consequence is you're basically working in the shell. Right click and you get various menus. Get a project where you can create a new project. Switch. What does switch do? I don't know what. Switch between projects, I guess. Retrieve, load the I don't know why it says retrieve. It just say load. I don't understand that. Save it. Import. We can import an IBM 4.2 file or an IBM text file. Text file locked. We can export it into IBM WordPerfect. You do not need to do this, though. The newer versions of WordPerfect actually read the Amiga version of WordPerfect right out of the box. So you will, though, if you want the opposite. If you want to have something from IBM to the Amiga, you will need to either export it from the newer version of WordPerfect or have it imported from here, as long as it's a 4.2 file. You can start a new command line, I guess. List files. Okay, from here we can choose to retrieve stuff, like we can delete it too, I guess. So we got a bunch of things right there that we can do from that. Exit, we can edit. Okay, in order to do this, I'm going to actually open up a document for you guys. I'm gonna open up my already completed WordPerfect review, which don't read any of it. You can't read any of it. Just to show you up some of these other features that it has. So we can, I guess if we delete something, we can undelete it too. So let's actually try that. Link to my WordPerfect video. We shall delete it. And you'll see that it comes up with this delete block thing, which I don't like that much. But yes. So can we undelete it though? Yes, we can. We can delete things to the end of the line. We can delete a whole paragraph, I guess. Wow. We can change things to uppercase, lowercase. We can do the type over crap. I always hated type over shit. And you can search for things, I guess. You want to type for a certain thing that we used. Processor. I don't know why that needed processor. Accept. And yeah, it'll find some of them, I guess. Printing options, centering options. I'll show that while I'm writing the document, actually. So it doesn't know what intric 8 is. It thinks it's nitric. No. Always skip. Why isn't there not an always skip for that one? eBay. Doesn't know what eBay is. Thinks it's bay. Positive. I'm a bad speller, so I would love to say that I misspelled words just to show off the spell check, but I can't honestly say that. I'm just a bad speller, but I don't care. Spelling is not a measure of one's intelligence. It's just a measure of one's ability to. I know people that are not the brightest people, and they know how to spell every goddamn word in the fucking dictionary. That's a good job, though. Word not found. I wish that were the case. And then I know super intelligent people that can't spell a goddamn thing, so I don't believe that is a measure of one's intelligence at all. Lots of intricates here. I'm wondering, I bet you it's missing a lot of real stuff. Bullshit. Word not found. Belched? No, not quite. Oh my god, can you stop with the fucking intricates? Oh my god, you're killing me. I know I've got a lot of fucking things spelled wrong, okay? I spell checked it on the fucking Windows machine, okay? I know I've got a lot of real words spelled wrong. Stop going with the damn... You don't know what download is either? I think what we're finding out is WordPerfect's dictionary. Now that one is probably correct. So we will actually use this one. Wait, which one is it? Formatting or formatting? They're both the same goddamn thing. Just fucking change it. A. There. We changed it. Reformatting. Okay. A. A. Okay. So we got one there. Uses its own. I had that one word instead of separated. That's fine. We'll just skip it for now. Advantage. Yeah, that must. I did not press the A there. Word not found, but it doesn't give me a. It doesn't give me the spelling though for advantage. I missed advan. I got an A-N. Okay, I did spell that one I did fuck that one up quite a bit. But yeah, it's no Google, I gotta tell you that. I'm pretty sure Word got that one. Absolutely. Can't find it either. So this is my main problem with spell checks of these old word processors is they pretty much they're useless for the most part. They get, maybe it's me because I really suck at spelling, but I can't say they're much better than me, quite honestly. Anyway, you get it. It's got a somewhat functional spell check. Okay, so that's enough. Thesaurus. So for formatting, it says we can do format, blueprint, design, appearance. Okay, so actually that's okay. How am I? Okay, if I just click on the word and then go to Thesaurus. Okay, so I can do complex, compound, difficult, elaborate, intricate, involved. Okay, so I'd say this Thesaurus is probably a pretty good one then, I guess. Nothing else really in terms of the menus here, so yeah, pretty much this is the full document, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you, me writing this document. So and performing it too. I'm gonna read it all for you guys. So let's get to that. WordPerfect on the Commodore Amiga 500. This review was overwhelmingly written using WordPerfect 5.0 on my Amiga 500. Inspired by Intricate's quest for his perfect word processor, I face an indescribable itch to dive into Amiga word processing myself. Upon reading an article on George R.R. Martin describing his love for simple word processing using DOS, Intricate wished to find the Amiga equivalent. He longed for a simpler time without spell check, where the word processor assumed you knew what you were doing. His idea of the perfect word processor included the following. 1. Must be able to save on the Amiga and transfer to modern day PC with at least page breaks intact. 2. Preferable to have a pleasing font to those eyes. 3. Beyond keeping page breaks intact, it would be great to have other formatting like centering, bold, underlined, and italicized fonts. 4. Easily transferable from Amiga PC. Intricate's search was extensive and lasted months. Searching on eBay, he bought many old school Amiga word processors, including several I had experience with as a kid and today. These included TextCraft Plus, ProWrite, Excellence, Wordsworth, and Final Copy. He ran into issues with all these processors. TextCraft would not run under Workbench 3.1. ProWrite and Final Copy did not feature pleasing fonts. Excellence and Wordsworth had their positives, but did not offer the more extensive formatting transfers. He seemed ready to give up. He heard rumors about WordPerfect being able to offer what he sought. He was unable to find a copy. When he finally did, a pure sense of joy burst through his writings as he had found what he was looking for. A history, or one man's trash is another man's treasure. I read all of Intricate's words intently, though quite skeptically. This was not my first run-in with WordPerfect. I used it a little bit on DOS. I've seen reviews of it in Amiga World. Even the magazine was strangely, in my eyes, pumped for the release of WordPerfect on the Amiga. It was something they were after, as if it was needed to give the Amiga credibility. None of the other major word processors on the PC cared enough about the Amiga to even consider porting their software. It was a big deal when Borland gave the Amiga market a chance. When they eventually gave up on the Amiga market, many wrote in and convinced them to stay a little longer. The thing is, I'm always thinking of the big picture. While others may have longed for a product such as WordPerfect on the Amiga in order to feel validated, I feel it comes from the belief that the competition had something better than we did. They did not. The Amiga was light years ahead of all others in most aspects. The Amiga had the graphics, the Amiga had the sound and music, the Amiga had the games, and dare I say, the Amiga had the better business tools too. TextCraft Plus, possibly the Amiga's very first word processor, is not the most fully fledged processor, but it does feature some eye-raising stuff for 1986. Most notably, it had graphical interface with the page view. The screen you're looking at looks like an actual piece of paper. Other Amiga word processors like Excellent and Final Copy would go on to give you most of the features you'd come to expect from Microsoft Word for Windows, released in 1991. Of course, the Apple also featured graphical word processors. I'm not sure if they had a similar grasp of DOS word processors to take them seriously, but I know if I was a fan of Apple, I wouldn't be one of those begging. Apple found their market, convincing schools to pay for their very expensive yet not the best machines. Many small businesses also found use with Apple computers. It's my opinion that companies such as Borland should have seen what the Amiga had to offer and changed their product for the machine's strengths. For the Amiga users and magazines wishing so hard to be taken seriously, who won? Of course, the Amiga is no longer with us, but what about WordPerfect? It might surprise you to know that indeed, they are still around, though a shell of their former selves. The first Windows release of WordPerfect was an utter disaster for Borland. Their Windows version was simply the DOS version. It was installed from DOS, and while I can't find screenshots or video to confirm, based on reviews, it was either run in a DOS prompt from Windows, thus exactly DOS version, or run in Windows but looking exactly like the DOS version. Magazines reviewing the Windows software showed no mercy, unlike the Amiga equivalents. They knew what their machine could do, and they expected companies to take advantage of it. At the time, Windows was but a DOS application. Why pay good money to run something inside of Windows when they could drop out of Windows easily and run the same program in DOS? Hell, they could have just run a DOS shell and ran the DOS version on top of Windows. Borland never recovered. Their next Windows release of WordPerfect was what Amiga users had come to expect from their word processors many years earlier. It was graphically based with a view of a notebook page, the same thing we get from all word processors today. But the damage was already done. Microsoft Word had released their Windows version a couple of years earlier. Besides GUI, it featured extensive spelling and grammatical insights on your writings. Microsoft, always encouraging users of Windows to buy their other products, made sure WordPerfect could not return to dominance. They never did. Today, WordPerfect exists as a niche market for the many commercial and government businesses still using the old versions of WordPerfect, or for those who wanted to use a newer product without having to convert there are many years worth of old version files. With the new versions of WordPerfect, you can just as easily as ever open up a document from 1989 with its intended look preserved. Well, I do believe their fall was all their own doing. I'm also impressed they now know what their purpose is. They're not trying to uproot Microsoft Word these days. They're just playing to their legacy strengths. Shot sees the light, sort of, aka the review. So upon diving into the perfect world of Word, what do I think of the program? Much like George R.R. Martin and Intricate, I do sometimes long to write things on these old machines. I have many memories of writing documents for school and printing them up on that unforgettable sounding dot matrix printer. When the Amiga was given to me upon my dad buying a PC, I continued writing journal entries as well as stories on various word processors. It's great to go back, sit down on the Amiga, and just write. Beyond writing for the hell of it, I also find practical reasons for using the Amiga for word processing. Intricate's look was mostly to go back to simpler times. I believe any Amiga owner or even emulator user has reasons for having at least one Amiga word processor. As good as I am with this old machine, I can't say I know everything. Especially when dealing with the command line. I find myself writing commands and notes on the machine itself for quick reference. You're only a gamer? Well, how about you cheating bastards write down the various codes right on the machine itself rather than print them or tab out into Windows. Upon installing the game Pool of Radiance onto my hard drive, I found this game did not get the best installation routine. It still offered one, and despite the reference manual claiming the game is entirely run from memory, bullshit. And thus it runs the same on floppy or hard drive. I remember how long it took to save to a floppy. If it can be installed, I was going to do it. The thing is, there's no icon to launch the program from Workbench. It requires you to open a shell and open their stupid directory called pool _of radiance rather than just pool. If you type the directory command, you will notice a file called program there. Type that? Nothing. You need to type execute program for the game to run. Wanting to save to the hard drive as well? Every single time you launch the game, you must attempt to load a game. When asked for the save pass, you must type /save. Or maybe it was save /. I don't know. Hence the reason why there's modern use for these word processors. I write it down, I open it up, and then I play the game how I want to play it. Everyone out there can find some use for an Amiga word processor. So what's my perfect word processor, and does WordPerfect fit the bill? My ones are very similar to Intricate's. I want to be able to transfer documents without much fuss to modern PCs. I want a pleasant font and environment to stare at while writing. And I would love for as much formatting as possible to make the leap from one platform to another. Intricate's interests seem to be focused on just transferring documents from the Amiga to PC. I, however, would also want to transfer documents from PC to the Amiga. When saving a document in Microsoft Word or most Amiga word processors, each has their own format language, and the two will unlikely speak to each other. You're most likely to get a garbled digital mess if opening up a Microsoft Word document on the Amiga, or an Amiga document in Word. A common set of standards was developed called ASCII, which every word processor can both read and write. This gives the bare basics required for file transfer. The words and the breaks will make the leap, but you can say goodbye to your fonts, or your bold/underlined words, etc. At this point, I have saved the Amiga file and transferred it over to Windows. If using a newer version of WordPerfect, you don't even need to save the file on the Amiga as an IBM WordPerfect file. The new WordPerfect reads everything just fine. However, the same cannot be said for Microsoft Word. Despite having all the conversion software I could find, I was unable to read Amiga WordPerfect files, either saved in the Amiga format or saved in IBM format. In contrast to Intricate, who noted no trouble using OpenOffice. I spent a headache-inducing day and night attempting with all my might to get Microsoft Word to open or save WordPerfect files with no success. Since I am a Microsoft Word user, I had no desire to download OpenOffice when I could not be sure it would work either. Instead, I went right for Thesaurus, a newer version of WordPerfect. There are no headaches converting things using a newer version of WordPerfect. I can even copy and paste things from WordPerfect into Microsoft Word and vice versa with all formatting intact. Since I'm not a particular fan of the new versions of WordPerfect, I find this to be extremely useful. I can write things using Microsoft Word or transfer writings I'd like to read on the Amiga very easily using the newer WordPerfect as a saving method. I'm now again writing this document on the Amiga. Saving from the newer WordPerfect into an IBM 4.2 file for transfer back to the Amiga did not produce perfect results. While most of the formatting was retained, bold, italics, underline breaks, and tabs, I found all of my centered text was now flushed to the left. The time spent dealing with this felt similar to any time I spent on the Amiga word processors reformatting the things ASCII left out. I'm not a fan of WordPerfect's interface. I don't hate the shell, but I would simply rather work in another Amiga word processor. Perhaps, much like I did with WordPerfect and Microsoft Word on Windows, I could copy and paste using the Amiga's Clipboard. I could not. Some Amiga word processors use the Amiga's Clipboard for copy and pasting. I was able to copy and paste from Final Copy 2 to Excellence, minus complicated formatting. Attempting to copy from other Amiga word processors into WordPerfect simply pasted the text I had copied earlier from WordPerfect. In other words, WordPerfect uses its own clipboard. Borland was yet again not taking advantage of the Amiga. This is the subject of yet another day of headaches, as I raided the Fred Fish archive in an attempt to find a program that could copy text from WordPerfect to other Amiga programs and vice versa. Many of the programs I found that claimed to do such things worked great when working with the Amiga programs, even copy and pasting, centering, bold, etc. But absolutely nothing could dent WordPerfect. This was my main desire for WordPerfect. I could see great use for it as a transferring method. I wish to use other Amiga word processors to write and then copy and paste to WordPerfect in order to save the formatting for transfer to Windows. It would have also been great to take documents from Windows and use WordPerfect on the Amiga to copy and paste them to my preferred processor. Sadly, despite my best efforts, I was unable to accomplish this. Does this make WordPerfect useless to me? No. Sitting here and writing this, I find I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. I honestly get a kick out of finding things to bold and underline and seeing them in text when transferring to the PC, as well as paper. I do believe I will find myself writing and reading on WordPerfect in the future. But it still has not replaced Excellence or Final Copy 2 in my eyes. In all honesty, I don't find myself using a great deal of formatting very often. When I do, I find it quite easy to point them out and simply redo them on the Amiga or Windows when saving using ASCII. The complicated formatting is simply not that big a deal to me. If I did care about formatting, I wouldn't like that WordPerfect on the Amiga uses only the default system font. I rather enjoy the font, but the lack of options upsets me. Nor can you use larger or smaller fonts. Of all the formatting someone can do on their documents, I find selecting the font and font size to be the thing I do most often. With that in mind, WordPerfect offers little the others don't. I can simply take note of the font and size while writing in another word processor to find an equivalent upon ASCII transfer. When it comes down to it, what am I writing this for? This review will be posted to a website that will not accept this formatting. All of this is being done for my own satisfaction. AmigaLove will not transfer my formatting upon copy and pasting. In the end, it's the exact same as if I had used Excellence on the Amiga and transferred to the PC using ASCII. For me, WordPerfect is far from perfect. I also take great offense to it being called WordPerfect 5.0, when after extensive testing all Amiga files are saved using WordPerfect 4.2 format, and the Amiga will not read 5.0 or 5.1 IBM files. How was this marketed? Was it a full release at over $100, or was it a partial update? Upon doing some heavy research, I found a Columbia University archive listing the version history of WordPerfect. It notes 5.0 for the Amiga was an alpha test and never saw release. This is yet another example of the sorry state of our online Amiga collections. They rarely note important things like NTSC PAL designs, or in this case, if something was an unreleased version. It should be noted that version 5.0 would most likely be an exact copy of the last official Amiga WordPerfect release, which was version 1.1.12, released in January of 1991. The interface is a pain in the ass. Every time I wish to bold or unbold something, I must enter the menu system or remember the function key shortcut. I don't. Upon selecting a block of text to delete, a menu pops up asking if I really wish to delete this text. Once you've highlighted text for one thing, you must re-highlight it if you wish to do another thing. For those of you out there that never make mistakes, this might be your ticket to a word processor that assumes you're perfect. Although you'd think the damn thing wouldn't ask you if you're sure you want to delete your text, you know, if it was truly thinking that you're perfect. I, however, am not perfect. I believe I'm an excellent storyteller, but I know I need to reread my writings to make sure I didn't leave something out. I've never been the greatest speller, and spell check has always been a great help to me. I'm also a firm lover in the Amiga and what it offered and meant. This command line based word processor is not what the Amiga was about. It's not my favorite word processor, and it failed in the area that could have provided a great use for me. What can I say? Intric 8 kind of convinced me it has its place. It's pretty ugly in my eyes, but ugly does not mean worthless. I had a complete blast writing this review, and I can thoroughly recommend WordPerfect on the Amiga as one of many must-own Amiga word processors. You can truly have just as much fun, if not more fun, playing around in these old utilities as you can playing a game. Those of you stuck in only a gaming mindset are truly missing out on enormous fun. As always, a full video review is there for those that wish to see WordPerfect in action. Thanks to Intric 8 for inspiring me to look into a word processor I previously had less than zero interest in. I hope you all check out his write-ups on his search for his perfect word processor. Print them on the dot matrix printer. They have that long feed of paper that you had to tear off tear it off, tear the paper off, tear the sides off. It was something else. It was special. And I really wish I still had my dot matrix